Hey, I'm Darwin Randolph, and I love Jesus. And I'm going to keep saying that until it's no longer true, which means I'm going to be saying that every episode, I guess. And I want to talk about something I learned today listening to a podcast, or something that was brought to my attention listening to a podcast. And that was, what is blocking your blessing? They were talking about that, and at the end of it, or towards the end of it, they came to the conclusion that the thing that's blocking your blessing is leaning on your own understanding instead of leaning on the creator of everything, Jesus. And in hindsight, that sounds so like juvenile that we just can't like lean onto our father because he knows everything. Like if you break it down or say it like that, it's like, yeah, like I trust God. Like that's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to lean on my own understanding. But we're so control heavy, or I can't even speak on y'all. I can speak on myself. I do not want to relinquish control. Like I know that his way is going to be better than mine, and I'm trying not to lean on my own understanding. But in order to do that, I have to give it all to God and relinquish that control, and that's something that I struggle with, and I constantly pray, and I'm working towards if I'm keeping it a beam with y'all. A big proponent to leaning on our own understanding is ego, and something that they said in the pod, which really stood out, is excuse me, I'm burping all over this podcast right now. It's kind of nasty. Something that they said to this ego, I mean, something that I said in the pod about ego is that ego stands for edging out God. And when you think about it, it makes complete sense because you're too focused on yourself and um your pridefulness, because ego and pride are almost synonymous with each other. You're too focused on all of that that you're not focused on God, and he's being cut out of the equation, so to speak. It's like when we become too focused on what we can do and what we can imagine, we don't relinquish control to God, and we kind of, we not kind of, we eventually fail. I was trying to be all political, but let's be real. You're going to fail when you don't trust in God. Like you may see immediate success, but it's not going to be long term because you don't have everything mapped out. You can't conjure up every trial that you're going to go through and every solution to every trial. That's not our job. Our job is to have faith in God, knowing that he has already conquered over every trial. Like we already have the victory. All we have to do is fight. And we have the map. Like we have the guide. We just have to follow it. Like he's already mapped out everything for us and told us and given us instructions to everything we need to do. We just have to stop being so egotistical and stop being so prideful and trust in him, because he gonna pave the way for us. But sometimes, which I'm gonna get to a story about it later. Sometimes we're not in alignment because we're too busy focused on our own self, and we block the blessing. Because I got so many stories about me blocking blessings, and this is the thing I was just talking about that I said I was gonna talk about later. I'm gonna talk about it now. I was in Florida. I was like 13 years old. I was in Florida, and my mom. This is to me this is a hilarious story. I was in Florida. I wanted a new pair of shoes. I was 13 years old. It was Gym Red 12s. I wanted those Jordan 12s, and we couldn't get them in Chattanooga. So mom says when we go to Texas, I mean when we go to Florida for summer vacation, she'll get them for me. Great, I appreciate it. Thank you. We get there, and when we get there, I had this whole idea that we're gonna go into the store. They're gonna have my size, everything, and we're gonna be good. I'm gonna get it. We get to the store. They didn't have the shoe in my size. I start crying. I actually physically started crying because I wasn't getting that shoe. That's not even the worst part. I the me not getting the shoe was never in question. My mom said, "Okay, we'll just order it online and have it shipped to our house." So I was going to get the shoe regardless, but because it wasn't the way I wanted to, because I was too prideful to take defeat, or like too prideful to relinquish it to somebody else and just say, "Okay, maybe it's not the way that I wanted it, but the result is still going to end up the same." I was moping. I legit, like, it's so funny to laugh about that now, but I like legitimately cried about that. And I'm gonna be honest, it could have been so easy for my mom to be like, "All right, since you're moping because it's not your way, let me just take that away from you." She didn't, and shout out to God because He'll love us through it anyway, and sometimes He'll continue to bless us even though we are not in alignment with Him. But oftentimes, if we're not in alignment, it's not even that he won't bless us, it's that we're missing the blessing that he has for us. He has it right there, but because we don't veered off to the left, because it's not the way that we wanted it to be, we're gonna miss the end goal. We're gonna miss the blessing. Like we're leaving food on we're leaving food on the table just because we ordered a different fork. Another thing I really want to talk about it is how God can open doors that nobody can close, and how there are some doors that we don't even know are open yet, but God has a plan. Again, God has everything mapped out for us. We just have to trust in Him. But we're too busy looking at what we can see, leaning on our own understanding instead of trusting in the Lord. We're too busy seeing. All right, so check this out. I'm a visual person. You see three doors. We see three doors, but we don't know that there's a secret door in between door 3 and 2. But we're too busy only seeing what we can see, but instead closing our eyes and having faith and trusting God just to lead us and tell us where to go. God tells us to walk in between 2 and 3. We're like, no, that's not a path right there. There's no door right there. But he's telling us to shut up and trust him. You feel me? But we just sometimes we just can't do that, or oftentimes we can't do that, and that's why we don't live out the lives that we're supposed to live, because we're not in alignment for the blessings, because we're not trusting God. We're too busy focused on what we can see and what we can conjure up, when it's way more than just what we can see. It's way more than just physical. Like this, obviously this is a spiritual battle. There's a spiritual aspect to everything that we do. So why are we trying to think everything logically, like everything can be solved in this physical realm? The last thing I want to say to y'all before we head up and get out of here is what I want to show y'all. I want to share with y'all this verse. It's Proverbs 3:26. For the Lord will be your confidence and will keep your foot from being caught. We will trip and fall if we're focused on our own selves, if we're leaning on our own understanding. But if we trust in the Lord and if we trust in the Lord and let Him be our confidence, then we can walk straight, and it'll be narrow, and we will be balanced, and we can see. And it's not even that we can see. Obviously, He'll show us, but there's just an aspect to like closing your eyes and just trusting Him. It's like when you were a kid in a car, you had no control, but you trusted whoever was driving you to get you to your destination safely. If you can trust a Uber where there's no control, obviously situations sometimes, but for majority of it, you're in an Uber, you're fine, you get to your destination safely. Why can you not trust God? You trust Uber Eats to deliver your food. You have no idea what that person could possibly do, but you trust them. So why do you trust them more than you trust God, the creator, big dog, father? He's top dog. He know everything. He got everything. Everything that he does is perfect, without any flaw, without any confusion, without any mistake. But we can't trust him. We can't trust him to direct our lives, but we can trust Buddy, um, user 3299 to get us to our destination in a timely and safely manner. Like, come on now, what are we doing? Like, and I say this not as a not as a not as if I'm trying to speak down to y'all, because I promise you this is me. I absolutely promise y'all this is me. I'm doing all this talking, and not to be hypocritical, because I need y'all to know that I'm struggling with this too. Like I said, these are these are verbal diaries at this point. I just want to talk about the things that go on in my mind, and the things that I work on as I continue to grow in my faith. And hopefully it can touch the lives of some other, and y'all can resonate with it. And we can all go together and be smiling and happy and love Jesus and be on one accord. You feel me? Like I said, that's really all I had to say. Do not lean on your own understanding. You're not going to get anywhere with it. Leaning on your own understanding may I'm gonna be real with y'all. Leaning on your own understanding may get you to where you want to be, but it's going to be the most complicated path you've ever taken in your life. And the may is not a guarantee. It may get you to where you want to be. And what if where you want to be is not where you need to be. There's too many complications on leaning on your own understanding. But there's one thing that is for certain. If you lean onto God, you will be where you want to be, where you need to be, more importantly, at the right time. You're going to be at the right position, at the right space. Nothing will be out of order. Nothing will be unintentional. Nothing will be negative. And when I say negative, I'm not saying like there won't be tribulations, but I'm saying there will be no missteps, misdoings, because God don't make no mistakes. The brother is absolutely chef's kiss, perfect. You feel me? Everything he do, incredibly perfect. Like you're perfect. But that's a whole nother tangent that I don't want to get into. I'm just saying, trust God. I promise you, he will not lead you astray. I absolutely guarantee with all my years. I ain't gonna lie. If you can't smile, you feel me? I don't need. Let me wrap this up. 'Cause I'm really just in a good mood, and I want to tell y'all to trust God because he got you. He's not gonna lead you astray. He's going to love you. He already loves you. He's going to protect you and take care of you and put you in the right position. The best quarterback that there ever is. You feel me? All you gotta do is catch the ball, turn, and look, touchdown. You feel me? All right. I hope y'all have a blessed day, or night, or whenever you're looking at this and listening to it. I hope something that I said resonated with you, and I hope you continue to grow in Christ. You should talk to God. Steve Harvey said you should talk to God. He's always there for you. I know he would want to hear from you today. Shout out to Steve Harvey. Shout out to Jesus, more importantly. All right, I'll catch y'all on the next one.